Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back at Circuit de Navarra in the Formula 4 on iRacing for yet another track guide. If you're new to my channel, what we do is a hot lap, then a breakdown, then we're back in the cockpit one final time with the driving line on. Any questions, let me know in the comments and let's start the hot lap. Alright, let's go. Smashing it down the main straight. Up to 6th gear. Ignore this first apex, we're going to be nice and wide here. And now we're holding the brake, holding a little bit more, and then we release off down to 2nd gear. So as you can see, it's very flat for brake trace compared with normal. And we're cutting this corner here through 4. We go up through the gears, up to 5th. And we're just going to do a lift here through 5. So we come off almost down to nothing. Quick spurt of gas, and we come back off. Very tricky corner, that one. Down to 3rd gear as we go up the hill. Back over to left-hand side. Just after we go through the 50-meter marker, we brake quite sharply down to 3rd gear as we come up to turn 9. And what we're looking for here is just before the 50. We're going to brake up to sort of 90%. Again, 3rd gear corner here. A lot of people will be using 2nd this week, but it is 3rd if you're carrying the speed. Again, this is another 2nd gear corner now, followed by the 3rd gear corner at 12th. Back over to left-hand side. On the brakes again, down to 2nd gear. Definitely don't hit that inside sausage curve. It'll send you into space. Flat out through 14. And to get our braking zone correct here for turn 15. Down to 2nd gear, on the gas nice and early. Exit wide, don't get the off track. We race towards the line. And we do it in a 138.139. Right, breakdown lap coming up now. Right, breakdown lap. So we're trying to get our braking point nice and wide, but well, they call this turn 1 that we're at, so we're ignoring the apex on this because we want to be nice and wide. And just as we get to the outside curb here, that's when we're going to start braking. So as you can see, just as I get there, I brake and I'm holding it at around 25%. We're just going to clip the outside of the rumble strip here as we go through this first apex. We're going to keep the wheel nice and straight. And as we straighten it up here, so we're getting the car going in a straight line, that's when I can increase the brake pressure up to about 60% before now trying to just use this as a normal corner. And what we're going to do is trail off, drop it down to 2nd gear, little lock up on the front right there, just tiny little one, and was already back on the gas nice and early. This is nice and easy. Just going to cut this corner. We've got to keep the center of our car over the rumble strip though. Anything over to the left of where I am is an off track. Up to 5th. So at the end of the green asphalt that we're on here, we're going to start our turn in. And once we're sort of mid-track, we're going to do a lift down to about 16, 15%. Gets a little bit lower. As soon as I come back off the curbing here, you can see I give it a quick blip, almost up to 100%, before then immediately getting back off the gas, doing a big lift, and then I put the brake on once I start straightening the wheel. So as you can see, because we're going quite fast here, and we're sort of mid-turn, we've got an awful lot of lateral forces going on. We've got to be very careful. We've got to keep straightening the wheel every time we are braking. So we brake up to about 50%, clip that outside curving, and then we can just drop it down to 3rd, trail off on the brakes, and then start getting back on the gas. We want to take some inside curving, take a little bit of the no-cut there, and as you can see, at the apex, we're at sort of 50% gas pressure, and then back up to 100% once I come off the curbs. So it's a tricky corner. So the braking marker's tricky on this one, turn 8. You've got the 50-meter board if you look over my right rear view mirror. So as we go through that, then I brake up to sort of 75%, trail it off down to 3rd gear. We're sort of 50% back on throttle at the apex. And then we're back on 100% soon after. The next braking point is going to be sort of just before the 50. So we go through the 100, and then, yeah, it's about where the 75 would be. It's whatever that light stanchion is on the left, we're just going past now. We brake here up to about 90%, trail it off down to third gear, start building back up as we get to the curbing. Once we're at the apex, we're at sort of 50% pressure, and obviously back up to 100% straight after. Flat out here through 10. Our braking for the next one is the start of the additional track that we have, so the additional curbing that we have here. As soon as we get on there, we're braking again up to about 75%, trail it off, drop it down to second on this one, flip some inside curves. We're at 2/3 pressure at the apex, then up to 100%. Our next braking is going to be the start of the end of this white patch up ahead of us. So as you can see, we get to the end of that, and we dab the brakes up to about 40%, leave it in third gear, and again, we're at the apex for about 2/3 pressure. Back over to left-hand side. Our next braking is going to be the start of the red and white here. So we get there, we brake up to, again, about 80%, trail it off, down to third, down to second gear. Make sure you're not hitting that no-cut curb, so the big red sausage curb on the inside. At the apex, again, we're almost at 2/3 pressure. I'm going to put that straight up to 100% as we straighten the wheel out. Back over to the right so that we can go through turn 14 flat. You can take some grass. You've got to keep the center of your car over the curbs, though. And the final braking zone is just before we get to the 50 meters. So as you can see here, so just before we get there, brake up to about 80%. Wipe that speed off in the straight line, trail it off as we look towards the apex, drop it down to second, making sure that we're getting some curb with our right-hand wheels. As you can see, as we approach the apex, we're nearly back up to 100%, nice and early. And then we just gun it for the line. We have one final version of the lap coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. So enjoy it. Back in a moment.